Hello everyone, Kirsten here. So April has finally come and gone, which I have been waiting so long for, and I'm really happy. So since April just ended not that long ago, I figured today's the day that I would start one of my monthly favorites videos. So with all that rambling I have just carried on about, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Question number 1 is, what is the funniest thing that has happened to you? To be honest with you, not very many funny things have happened as far as I could tell from this month in particular, but if I were to think of at least one at the top of my head, I think I came back from like a Chinese place with like my family at one point. It was just my grandparents, me, and my uncle. We were on our way home, and when we were in the parking lot, I just randomly blurred out like a random meme from 22nd Jump Street, I believe, which was, you know, my name Jeff or whatever. It's just very random and it was out of the blue, and my uncle started laughing a little bit. I know it doesn't sound like that funny, but it was just very random and out of the blue, and I don't know why the fuck I said that. Because there was this random meme going around which was, you know, my name Jeff, I just thought it was like really weird because it sounded like it was like a reference to like my dad's name. So that's why I just randomly blurred it out, I guess. I don't know. It's been a popular meme lately for some weird reason. I don't know why, but yeah. Question number 2 is, what books did you read? As you guys may have noticed from like my previous monthly favorites videos, I'm still reading the same book, which is The Creative Spirit, An Introduction to Theater by Stephanie Arnold. After like almost a whole semester of reading this book, as you can tell, I just got 2 more chapters left, and I think by the time I upload this video, or maybe next week from when I upload that video, I should be completely done with this book, and I will pretty much be moving on to whatever book I feel like reading that day. Again, this is a very good book. I highly recommend it if you guys are interested in theater in particular. Anything along those lines, this is a pretty good read. Question number 3 is, what movies / TV shows have you watched? I have watched Supernatural. Well, I mean, obviously, the past few months I have, which was season 7, 8, and 9. And I think by next month I should be completely finished with the series. I have no idea when season 12 is going to come out on Netflix, but I'm sure it's going to be, you know, sometime next year or sometime this summer, I hope, which I'm kind of hoping on at the moment. But other than that, I should be pretty much all caught up by next month, I should think. So I'm almost done with Supernatural. I also got to watch a few movies in particular. I got to watch a very insightful documentary, which was Cowspiracy, where it kind of like talks about like agriculture all in itself. So I thought that was pretty interesting to know about. I've also got to watch a movie called Sausage Party, which is kind of like a cartoon, but it's more like an adult cartoon, which was so funny. I enjoyed that movie so much. It was just over the top in so many ways. I just overall enjoyed it. I've also got to watch a horror movie called Visions, which was okay. I probably wouldn't recommend it, but it was a pretty interesting movie to watch, definitely for sure. Also, I think about last week or last weekend in particular, I got to watch Magic Mike Triple XL, which was really interesting with like all those dance moves that they performed and stuff like that. Just overall very interesting movies I got to watch this month. Question number 4 is, what is something you did that made you proud of yourself? There wasn't really much proud-worthy stuff that went on this month, unfortunately, but the only thing I could come up with is, you know how like when it's getting pretty close to school being completely over, but yet you feel really lazy to the point where you feel like you're pretty much done with school and stuff like that? that's pretty much how I feel right now, but the interesting thing is I am definitely very proud that I am definitely getting my shit together for trying to make it through school and stuff, because I am going to be graduating this month and I definitely don't want to fuck up, you know, any really good opportunities and grades, stuff like that. So I'm very happy that I'm, you know, meeting with counselors for like trying to find the jobs of fields that I can apply for and all this other stuff. I'm just overall very proud of myself for trying to do that to the very bitter end of my graduation and after graduation in particular. Question number 5 is, which games have you been playing this month? So I did have the time to play 2 games this month. The first one I wanted to cover is just an ordinary PlayStation 2 game. I haven't played a PlayStation 2 game in a very long time, and that game is, of course, Haunting Ground. Now, honestly, I have played this game like about 1,000,000 times before, but there's just something about this game that I'm really addicted to, and I just don't know what it is. I think it's like a mixture of all kinds of things, like the fact that, you know, it's one of those groundbreaking games during 2005 at that time where you basically interact with your dog, and also these really interesting horror elements that I thought were kind of quirky and unique markings that differentiate this compared to any other games. So I just thought that was pretty interesting. I enjoy this game very, very much. I mean, obviously, I've played this game about like over 1,000 times by now. One of my favorite games. Another horror game that I also got to play is, of course, Until Dawn. Honestly, I enjoy playing this game very, very much. The interesting thing about it is it's like an interactive movie. The gameplay is relatively similar to Tattletale and I think Heavily Rain, if you guys are familiar with those type of games. This game is pretty interesting because for some weird reason the elements in the game kind of reminds me of when I watched The Descent, which is one of my all-time favorite movies, in case if you guys are not familiar with what The Descent actually is. I feel like it's a mixture of all kinds of things, honestly. I feel like it's a mixture of The Descent, The Thing, and your typical average teen slasher films. It's like that into one game in Pacific. This is pretty interesting. I highly recommend this game if you're into a pretty good scare. This game is definitely pretty interesting. Question number 6 is, did you travel anywhere? Again, I have not traveled anywhere in Pacific, but the only thing I can say is that I did travel out of town at one point, which was to Los Altos. My grandmother and I mostly drove up there to search for a dress in particular. I randomly thought that they had like a shop in Los Altos, and it turns out it really wasn't. It was just their, I think, P.O. box place or something, which was kind of weird because I literally thought it was like their store and it really wasn't. Also, I got to, you know, hang out with my aunt. That is pretty much it. Nothing too wild or crazy or anything else like that. Question number 7 is, what foods did you try and loved? So there is quite a variety of foods that I got to try out. I got to try out Tofurkey's veggie dogs. It's a pretty interesting texture, I think. I do like this a whole lot better than Lifelike's Smart Dogs or Veggie Dogs or whatever you call them. I probably wouldn't eat them every day, but I would most likely consume these babies on probably a weekly or every other weekly basis, but they are really, really good. Another thing I also got to try out, which was something I never thought I would be able to try in my whole entire life. It's basically like a vegan cheese that I end up getting for the first time in my life, and that is the mozzarella follow your heart dairy-free cheese. When I first tried this and took a bite out of it, I literally thought it was so weird. When I got to try it a few more times, I actually thought this wasn't really too bad. I could definitely eat this stuff again. Another thing I also got to try out, it's basically one of these Boca burgers, right? So I got to try out their beefless patties, and this time I tried out another one of their veggie patties, and it is the chickenless patties. These are honestly pretty good to eat. I enjoy eating these probably once in a great while. This surprisingly tasted so much like chicken to me. I just thought it was pretty interesting. In terms of restaurants that I got to try out that I absolutely loved, when I was with my folks and we went out to a place called Denny's, I found out that they have like these Pacific type of veggie burgers in particular, so I decided to, you know, kind of try one out, and I got to try out their veggie patty, and I was actually really surprised. I enjoyed eating that veggie burger in particular. It was honestly so delicious. There was this restaurant I also got to try out with my grandmother and my aunt, and it is the eggplant parmesan. Normally I prefer Olive Garden's eggplant parmesan, but that was honestly the best tasting eggplant parmesan I've ever had in my life. It was honestly that good. In a different restaurant, I also got to try out vegan soup of some kind. It had like hummus, some type of cabbage and mushroom, relishes, all kinds of stuff. It was honestly the best tasting soup I've ever had in my life. Really, really good. And it had like avocados in it too. I got to try out Portuguese bread for the first time, and that was honestly the best tasting bread I've ever tried in my life. It was kind of like Hawaiian rolls or Hawaiian buns or just Hawaiian bread generally. I would definitely recommend that over Hawaiian bread any day, and I love Hawaiian bread. A couple things I got to try from Trader Joe's was like their cranberries, mangoes, and blueberry muffin, which was surprisingly vegan, and I got to try out a vegan muffin for the first time, and that was pretty good, honestly. I also got to try out their corn tamales, which was also pretty good. I also got to try out Korean meatless turkey, which was pretty good. I also tried out Life Likes beefless crumbles, which was honestly pretty good. I also got to try out a really good veggie sandwich in particular when I was out with my grandmother. It was kind of like Panera Bread, but it wasn't Panera Bread obviously, but it was kind of similar to Panera Bread. Basically what it had in it was like obviously lettuce and tomatoes, and it had like some type of cheese with like some type of dill sauce and cucumbers, and honestly that was quite the refreshing sandwich I've ever had in my life. It was honestly pretty good. I also got to try out their salad that had like strawberries, mangoes, and some type of citrus. It also had like spinach and like feta cheese and roasted sliced almonds, which was honestly a pretty good salad too. So during the spring and summer, I usually like to go for just a plain sandwich and salad, which is honestly perfect enough for me. But yes, very delicious. Question number 8 is, which songs have you been listening to the most? So I got to listen a few new random songs lately, and one of the songs is Illusion by VNV Nation, which I thought was a pretty interesting song. It was pretty mellow and calm. I just thought it was pretty interesting. I also got to listen to Amy Lee's Speak to Me from that movie Voices from the Stone, which I thought was a really beautiful Melanie type of song. I swear to God, that woman's voice in particular is like music within itself. Her voice is like playing a musical instrument. I think her voice in particular is really that good. Another song I also got to listen to this month is called Frozen by Cell Dweller, which I thought was also pretty interesting. I also got to listen to a German song in particular. How the fuck do you pronounce this? I'm looking at my screen really fast to see how you pronounce it. Blitzkrieg by Death Star, which was honestly pretty interesting to listen to. Very, very catchy. And the final song I also wanted to talk about was, I think it's a royalty-free song you can find on YouTube someplace. That song in particular is called Fortress by Illuminum, I think. It's a pretty interesting, catchy song, and I thought about having that song played in one of my upcoming videos here in the near future, so I think that would be very interesting to add into. Question number 9 is, what are your favorite items for the month? One of the items that I got to try out this month that I thought were considered to be one of my favorites for the whole entire month. You guys may have seen me made a review about it in one of my previous videos. It is definitely in my channel if you're interested in checking that out. But I did a review of like this teeth whitening product, right? It's by Bedrock and Bloom, and it's like these smart ashes. Basically what it does is you put the ashes in your mouth and you brush them for like about 2 minutes in particular, and basically what this does, it strengthens, restores, whitens, cleans, and detoxifies, as well as reducing sensitivity. I have been trying this a few times every other day for the past month or so, and surprisingly, I love how clean it made my mouth feel, and I just love how it made my teeth look and feel a little bit more shinier. So this is a pretty good brand in particular. I highly recommend this if you can tolerate the messy nature of this beast. And this next set of items I really wanted to talk about is these brushes I recently got, and it is these eco tools. These are cruelty free and it's eco-friendly as well as vegan. Basically, I have been using these brushes, and these have been my favorite brushes lately. So when you open this up, it contains a lip brush, a flat eyeliner brush, an eyeshadow brush, foundation, as well as a powder brush. I love how well it definitely blends in with my makeup. As a matter of fact, I got to use some of these brushes today before I had a chance to film today. They're so soft and they blend really well, and they're so easy to work with, and they're less messy. If you're trying to find some, pretty good brushes to work with, this is something I would recommend for sure. There's also this beautiful dress I got to purchase online from this gothic website called Dark and Love. It is like a beautiful white dress. I got to see it on Instagram at one point, and automatically when I saw that, I was like, that dress is to die for. It is downright gorgeous. And yes, I'm gonna be wearing that dress in particular to my graduation, but the thing is I really do not want to show it, at least not just yet, because in the near future I do plan to do like a little graduation vlog, which is pretty interesting. I thought about doing like a weekly throughout the day segment, which is gonna be pretty interesting. I'm very excited to start out this project, and something I'm really looking forward to. I cannot wait until I show you guys this dress on my graduation day. Final question at number 10 is, what is something that you have learned? So I got to learn 2 things this month. The first one I wanted to point out, I basically got to learn a little bit more Japanese this month, which was pretty interesting. I am participating in my theater appreciation class, which is just a fun class I'm doing for now until I graduate, because I have no other classes to attend to since I'm already done. But basically, we did like this table read of some kind. If you guys don't know what a table read is, it's basically like a process where people gather around the table, or on the table to be exact, and they just read the script, everybody's lines and things like that. Well, anyway, this script that we read for a play called And the Soul Shall Dance, which was pretty interesting because parts of the script had like Japanese lines to them, so we had to search up 10 vocabulary terms to learn certain Japanese words and phrases, which was pretty interesting, I thought. The final thing I really wanted to point out is that Cowspiracy documentary I watched. Basically, what I learned from that documentary in particular is that just American agriculture altogether is probably one of the most environmentally destructive thing I have ever watched in my life. I mostly thought it was like due to some form of like pollution and stuff like that, and it turns out it was something so much more bigger than that. And honestly, I became a vegetarian due to health reasons in Pacific, but the fact that animal agriculture is so environmentally destructive all in itself, it definitely opened my eyes to basically staying away from meat altogether, even more further, and that's something I never really did thought about, and I'm glad that that documentary has given me that opportunity to learn, because it's basically all of America, half of Canada, and almost all of North America, which is crazy. So much land, all because of people's disgusting meat pleasures. That was something I definitely got to learn. So that is pretty much it for everything I had to share on this monthly favorites video for April. I hope you guys enjoyed this video all together, so if you did, be sure to sucker punch that like button down below. And of course, if you haven't already, please do dedicate the time and effort to subscribe to my lovely channel, to become a part of my army of darkness, and of course, you will be updated with a brand new video every single Friday as well as Sundays now. So that is pretty much it. If you guys are interested in following me outside of YouTube, all of my social medias will be listed in the description box down below if you were interested in checking them out yourself. And again, thank you guys so much for watching and sticking to the end of this video. You guys are so awesome for doing that. Have a completely chill week, an awesome day or night, and I will talk to you all soon in the next video. So until then, stay completely dark and so fucking brutal and awesome, my friends. Take care. Bye for now. Question number 1 is, what is your middle name? My middle name is Haley. I honestly wish that was my last name, because I feel like my last name in particular is like way too common. It is what it is, and I can't change anything about it. But yes, my middle name is Haley, and it shall forever remain Haley. Question number 2 is, what is